you, Dr. Aymeric, for your very kind words. And let me start by, I don't know which, I can see it here. Let me say that in Catalan, in Spanish, we say walk. And since the symposium is on digital learning for students, we say that being at walk, our students will never walk alone. So remember that. That's why we say walk. Huh? And now I prepare this talk saying that we went from a distance university to a no-distance university. Does it work? It's this one. Where should I point? On apunto. Maybe I bang it. I should bang it, maybe, huh? Yeah? Gracias. No? It's on. It's on the green on. Oh, no. Okay, if we look at the history of distance universities, we see that, at least in Europe, I don't know the story in the States, but at least in Europe, the first one was created was Open University, and that's the politics of the welfare politics that we had in Europe. So to have a university available for citizens living long distances from other face-to-face universities, and having the chance for people to have the opportunity to take a degree. And that's the story of UNED in Spain, or FERN in Germany, or Open Universiteit in Netherlands. But when WOC was created, I like to say that WOC was created, and the theory of chaos played a role there, because there were two main issues there. One is that if it had been created a few years before, and that wasn't so for political reasons that I may explain to you some other time, maybe internet wouldn't have been available. So it was, it was created in the right time. And the person who created it had the knowledge to do it online. So it was created, it started really online. And that brought two main issues that will be the two vectors of my presentation. One is that technology allowed a pedagogic model to putting the student in the center. And the second one is that being internet ubiquitous, the possibility of becoming a global university is there. And these are the two vectors I'm going to talk for the rest of this talk. So with time, we see that the demand of online education grows. Technology facilitates it, and the paradigm is that ubiquity, that's why we are talking about a no-distance university. And that we see that now universities, new universities are appearing online, and the old ones are moving to online. But there is a change of paradigm as well that we have to face now in the future. In the traditional university, education was in critical thought. The Renaissance universities or Middle Ages university, the old ones, were training in fields like philosophy, science, art, humanities, so there is knowledge there. With the Industrial Revolution, things change, and you need education in high-level professionalization, and then you appear to have degrees in engineering, nursing, etc. So it's not only the knowledge, but the know-how as well, which is relevant. And in fact, we could say that Phidias, for example, did the Parthenon. He didn't have a degree, but he was an architect. So with the Industrial Revolution, we need degrees to train in specific professional training. But with internet, things change again. And that's a theory of Professor Manuel Castells, which is a professor at our university, where he talks about the informational society in which we are living now. And so what will be the future of education? What are the new occupations? What will be the role played by students? How do we face education in the future? So these are the big questions, and some of the questions that this symposium is addressing. So the paradigm of education is changing, and we were talking before, in a few years we'll have probably, probably Google offering training with machine learning professors, robots doing the training for the accompaniment of students. So we'll see probably all that. There may be some black swans coming on as well, but well, maybe we'll see this kind of things. And for a university like ours, it's important to understand that I used to say that our student is somebody which is about 30 years old, which usually has a family, and for sure they have a mortgage. So these are people which are in long life learning. We are not addressing, our university is not mainly addressed to students of 18 years old, which go to face-to-face universities, but to long life learning. So education in the 20th century was a phase which was taking place up to 20 years old, 22 years old. Then people used to work, and then they had some personal time, which is retirement and even the eternity. But in the 21st century, things have probably changed, and now we have stages of work and personal being interweaved. In fact, I like this web page of Stanford 2025, where they say that we are admitting you for 6 years and come whenever you like. So you come and then you leave and then you come back, etc. So this is something that is changing the paradigm of higher education as well. And so internet is raising a groundbreaking attack on universities, not only Wikipedia, but all the kind of help that the internet can give to students. And then internet has something which is different to what we do at universities. In universities, we provide products, a master's degree, which is 60 credits, compulsory 15, plus 30 which are optional, but internet provides services. And what the long life learner wants a product of 60 credits or wants a service at his or her demand. In fact, in a way, what we do at universities is one size fits all. And probably that's something that we should think about, whether that's the answer we have to give, or we need to provide other answers. Sorry, because they told me, yeah. And that puts a question also on the academic staff. So should professors be strong in research and hold power-disciplinary contents, or should be professors expert in professionalizing competences, so knowledge and know-how? And that gives the question whether intermediation should be there or not. So let's go to the next one. And then we are facing the fourth industrial revolution, where we are going to find robotics, and we are going to find big data everywhere, and we are going to find 3D printing everywhere as well, and circular economy. And that challenges the university as a whole, in the sense that we have in the university experts in robotics and all these technical and scientific areas, and we have very good experts in sociology saying how many people will get out of work and how society will be structured, and what's the role of university there? What should university do for the citizens living in this kind of world? And that's a question we keep asking ourselves and trying to find an answer. And here is how we face, in our case, the vector I was mentioning before, which is the vector of the model, pedagogic model. In face-to-face universities, we know very well the professors at the center. We have lectures, which are 60, 90 minutes, and professor transmits her knowledge. And what's the incremental evolution? The incremental evolution is, as so many online universities, where you have lectures which are videotaped and sent to students. So we have talking heads doing the same thing as the face-to-face professor is doing in a face-to-face university. So replicate what happens in a face-to-face university. Professor is still at the center. And then there is the disruptive change, and here's where WOC is, or at least we hope we are. And what's the disruptive change to re-engineer the university? Because we want students to be central, learning by doing, 100% asynchronic, so we don't have talking heads, or we don't have tape lectures. And teaching resources are in a way industrialized with common pedagogic pattern. So it's not the aircraft of the professor who prepares his own or her own slides. There is accompaniment to the student from a tutor or collaborator professor, and there is continuous evaluation. Let me, in that sense, show you something which has been very inspiring for us. Should come in. The video, please. Yeah, now.
Once we have outlets, computer outlets in every home, each of them hooked up to enormous libraries, and you ask, and you can find out, and you can follow it up, and you can do it in your own home, at your own speed, in your own direction, in your own time, then everyone will enjoy learning. Nowadays, what people call learning is forced on you, and everyone is forced to learn the same thing on the same day at the same speed in class. And everyone is different. For some it goes too fast, for some too slow, for some in the wrong direction. It seems to me that it's through this machine that for the first time we'll be able to have a one-to-one relationship. Everyone can have a teacher. If you have something like this, then anyone, any age, can learn by himself. Make it possible for them to enjoy learning, and they'll keep it up.
Okay, that's an interview to Isaac Asimov in 1988. You can find it in YouTube. You go to YouTube and write Asimov in internet, and you find it 7 minutes and a half, and you enjoy all the way this interview. And that has led our university to have at present 64,000 graduates, 62,000 students. We have 3,500 teaching staff, our own staff and collaborators, and 500 tutors. What's relevant here, as I said before, is 60% are 30 or over. So it's a long life learning university. And 93% have a job. So that's an interesting issue. They are economic subjects. They are producing wealth because they are working while they are studying. So it's a different paradigm of student from face-to-face university with students 18-year-old. And these are the enrollments in the Catalan system. We are complementary. You can see that the face-to-face on-site universities have 80% of the students in the range 18-21, while we have almost 50% over 30. As I said, it was 60% in the previous slide. And that's the profile. After they graduate, they keep in touch with WOC. That's why they never walk alone. They are 60% come from Catalonia, 35% from the rest of Spain, and 5% from the rest of the world. 93% are employed, 60% have a job which is needed for the degree they are taking, and they take these degrees to expand their knowledge and progress for their professional careers. And the educational model that we think is one of the vectors in which we have to keep improving and evolving is that it's dynamic and flexible. We have the student, I don't know, maybe these will work here. No, it's the laser doesn't, well, the pointer is not showing properly, but we have the student at the center. It's a competency-based training and assessment. They have tools and resources provided to them. There is teaching support, and then there is a network community. And that's why we need innovation and research to make this model evolve. Then we have a continuous and formative assessment, and the support of the student is done through the tutor that follows the progress of the student along the whole degree. And we have a course instructor for each course. And the model is this one. The video, please. Very shortly, you will see how it works.
Providing people with a university education goes back over 20 years. But what makes it stand out? What do students find when they log into the virtual campus? What's the learning experience like? Let's take you on a tour of the UOC campus. This is the classroom for the key features of the fantasy genre and contemporary fiction course, part of the master's degree in fantasy film. At the UOC, each course has a classroom like this, where students can find everything they need to successfully complete their learning process. The group of fellow students with whom they keep in permanent contact and carry out collaborative activities, forums and debates, where they can discuss key issues related with the subject or find answers to any questions they may have. A notice board, which the instructor uses to present the course and the activities and to spark the learning process. And a time plan to help students organize their work and calendar, balancing their studies with the rest of their lives. At the Walk, all learning activities are designed around a challenge to be completed. The first challenge for students studying key features of the fantasy genre and contemporary fiction is as follows. They're asked to play the role of a detective and discover the fantasy genre's key features using a series of texts.
In this section, we start to work on the definition of fantasy. Is fantasy a genre or a series of subgenres? Is it a well-defined narrative territory or is it blurred?
The instructions for this challenge-based activity are given in a document they can download. By completing these activities, students learn while their progress can be simultaneously evaluated with a continuous and formative assessment model that provides them with personalized feedback and constant support from the teaching staff. Alongside these challenge-based activities, another major part of the UOC learning experience is the learning resources. The design of the UOC's training activities involve content curation. The learning resources are displayed together in a visual interface like those used by online newspapers. Each element has a specific size and occupies a specific place, depending on its importance and the sequence proposed by the professor. Each challenge is linked to the specific content students need in order to carry out the activity set. This may be content created by the university itself or high-quality external resources. Each resource is accompanied by guidelines, such as the recommended time to spend on it and recommendations for their appropriate use within the context of the activity. Students are also asked to think about current affairs or to search for solutions to problems from professional contexts. This is the case of the eLearn Court, a simulation that lets students develop techniques and strategies useful for negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. Or the online laboratories, where students remotely access laboratory resources physically located in the university. Challenge-based course design enhances and strengthens the Walk's continuous assessment model, a model that has been successful for over 20 years.
Okay, it's important to understand that our students are busy people, so we have to be very careful with the time we propose for them to read or to work, so they can make the most of their time. And now that's the model, that's the pedagogic model, that's one of the vectors in which we are working, and it's one of the strategic issues of our evolution. The second one is becoming a global university that Internet allows us to be, and that's our ambition, to become a global university. And for that we have the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. In fact, the 17 goals, universities involved in all of them. But obviously number 4, which is quality education, is the main one. It says that it ensures inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So that fits very well with what our university wants to be. And in fact, in 4.3, it says, for the first time, that's the first time that the UN includes something like this, that by 2030, ensure equal access for all women and men to affordable and quality technical, vocational, and tertiary education, including university. So for the first time, the UN includes university in one of the sustainable goals. And that, I believe, is very, very relevant. In fact, when we look at the evolution of universities in Europe, that's information provided by EUA, European University Association, we see that in orange is the demand of students, and in blue is the universities. We see that up to 1950, universities were training the elites of the countries. And by 2000, universities are educating all kinds of professionals. So the number of students attending university has multiplied by 4 or 5 times, and the number of universities has been multiplied by 4. So universities are playing a different role in 2000 than they were playing in 1950. Obviously, the universities training elites exist and will always exist, but there are other needs that universities have to cope with. And that would be the global demand. I don't extend on that. You will find it in my presentation if you like, these graphs. That's a calculation we did when I took over here at work, looking at the estimates of OCDE. They were saying there were 100 million people attending university in 2009, and they expected to have, by 2030, 400 million people. So to attend that with face-to-face universities, you would have, the need would have been to create 2 universities for 2,000 students per day during these 20 years. So you can understand that to create 2 universities per day during 20 years, that's a strong burden. It's not easy. Not because you don't have the money to build, to make the buildings or the real estate, but not only, but you need the trainers, you need the professors, and that takes a long time to make a professor. So that's something that we have to keep in mind. On the other hand, in terms of globalization, work has students in 134 countries, mainly expatriates, Spanish expatriates, but not only. I have about 2,000 students in Colombia, but most of these countries, these are Spanish expatriates. And technology helps to personalize higher education, and then we have the possibility to adapt, because the student is a part of the quadruple helix where university, government, and industry play also a role of demands and challenges, etc. And in that sense, we are working to assess how students all over the world can participate or can be assessed for their work. And we have this Tesla project, which is a European Commission-funded project, where we have 18 partners, 4 universities, 3 quality agencies, 4 research centers, and 3 enterprises, developing a method where students will be able to take exams virtually, because we'll have facial recognition, voice recognition, typing patterns, anti-plagiarism, forensic analysis, time stamping, face anti-spoofing, and voice anti-spoofing. So if we are able to know the students along a certain period of time, we will be able to assure, in the same way that in face-to-face you are able to assure which is the student taking the exam, we'll be able to do that virtually. We're working on that, and we are in the third phase. We are in the 2018, and we are finishing the project probably by this year. Isn't that so? Yeah. So by this year, the project will be ended, and probably we will be applying the results in the next future. 4.7 of the goal number 4 says that ensure all learners acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development, including among others global citizenship. And that's a goal that we are trying to to reach by working on institutional projects like the one we have with UNITAR, with United Nations, which is a master degree on conflictology, and where we have students which are mediators working on site all over the world, and both the students and the consultants are mediators working on site all over the world. So in that sense, that's a kind of global approach. And another approach to globalization is virtual mobility programs, where we exchange students on one or more courses which come to work classrooms while they continue studying their degree in another university. So we did that in September 16 with 700 students from Uniminuto in Colombia, where 700 students took the courses that you see there and enter our virtual classrooms to take these courses while they were continuing their degrees in their own university. And we have some other pilots now with Universidad Cooperativa de Colombia, in Colombia, DUOC in Chile, and university in Peru, the Pontificia from Peru. And 4.5 says eliminate gender disparities in education and ensure equal access to all levels of education and vocational training for the vulnerable. In fact, UOC is the second university in Spain with more disabled students. These data are 15-16, where we had about more than 1,000. Now we have 1,500 students which are disabled, and that puts us as the second university in Spain in this rank. Or, for example, scholarship programs for refugees. We started in February 17 language courses for students in Syria and Afghanistan, or in September 17, or as well, language courses and postgraduate specialization for students in Syria, Sahara, and another 10 countries. And to conclude this presentation, let me say that technology favors learning, being introduced in pedagogy, even in present face-to-face universities. These changes introduce modification in the academic profiles. That's another issue. It becomes very difficult to be a good professor in an online university. I wouldn't compare to face-to-face, but I can say that I was in face-to-face, and I find more difficult to be a good one in online than in face-to-face, where in face-to-face you transmit your knowledge, and in online you have to do other things. Among other things is to coordinate a team of consultants and tutors. Students need to be educated and trained to work in professions that don't exist, so we have to think about that. We will have to consider education from the point of view of the student and not from the point of view of our products, what's on offer. That brings some difficulties in countries like ours, where everything is regulated. In our country, in Spain, in Europe as well, and in South America, everything is regulated, and you need to have products. So the training on demand is not so easy from a legal point of view, but probably the future goes in this direction, even if regulations are as tough as they are at present. And being a global university means to educate global citizens in global professionals, to enhance the quality of education and research. Here research plays an extraordinarily relevant role, and to make a meaningful contribution to society. In fact, I would say that the social impact of universities like ours is really strong. All universities. We have to say that Spain is the first country in the European Union with more people having a university degree while the parents didn't have one. Okay, so that's very important how demographically education has changed the paradigm or the landscape of a country like Spain. And that's it. Thank you very much.